more time I spend driving cars, the more I realise the obvious divide between the Americans and the Europeans. On one side of the pond you have the Grand Canyon, 26-lane highways and double XL coffees. Very big, much space. On this side you have single-lane mountain rally stages. You have driving the Arc de Triomphe, espressos, very dainty, very precise. And that spills over into car design. It's the age-old cliche that Americans don't know how to go around corners and Europeans would get left behind in a quarter-mile drag race. But what happens when somebody decides to import some of that American largeness to Europe? Well, one very lucky Brit gets to test the thing out. That is not the driver's side door. This is a Shelby GT500 with a 5.4 litre supercharged V8 producing 550 brake horsepower, and you can tell by the stripes over the car, the cobra markings everywhere, that this is no longer a Ford Mustang. This is a Shelby. But if your eyesight does fail you, once you start the thing up you'll realise this isn't an everyday vehicle. Moreover, when you play with a short shift gearbox, you'll realise this is probably better on track than it is a road. Unfortunately, all I have is road, so I will have to be careful, but I imagine this is going to be quite fun. So this has 510 foot-pounds of torque. So yeah, it's pretty leery. Bloody hell. Wow. Wow, you may have just seen a European fall in love with American cars. That is leery though. Rear end is pretty happy. Wow, yeah, anything above quarter throttle in first and second, you're leaving a huge pile of rubber behind. Woohoo! Okay, I didn't expect that to be that enjoyable, and it's very immediate as well, the power is. It's got a supercharger, but that is responsive. I should be able to blast this now, so I'll drop down into second, just go around this corner, take it easy, and then here we go. The only thing I can compare this to in terms of kind of grip at the rear end and that V8 power is your big muscly Mercedes, particularly when traction control is turned off or dynamic is on. There is a traction control button down there, but I'm not going to touch it because I'll be honest, and I don't often say this car scares me a little. You see enough videos on the interweb of Mustangs leaving car meets and binning it. Someone wraps it around a tree or a signpost or a curb, and you think, what a bloody rubbish driver. But unless you've driven one of these, maybe hold judgment, because I'm not going to bin it myself, and perhaps these people aren't the best drivers, but this is a car that could be easily wrapped around a tree. That being said, it doesn't feel lumbersome. It doesn't feel like an overzealous lump of power in a car that can't handle it. It does feel somewhat refined. But then you look at the badge, this is a Shelby. This has racing pedigree. You don't win Le Mans without knowing how to build a race car. Now, I'm not going to be able to because I don't actually have access to a track, but it feels like with enough space this would be beautiful to place around a corner. I mean, place, I imagine it would be catching the rear end, but it feels like it's balanced. The only thing I would say is, and I don't know if this is because the majority of my driving I've been on a right-hand drive, but you do feel very far left. The car is monstrous, it's huge, so the bonnet feels massive, and that side of the car feels like an age away. You feel almost like you're in your own little cockpit on this side of the car. Wow, this has made me smile more than anything I've driven to date, which for car people I guess is one of the most important metrics. How much a car makes you smile. Oh my god, this is a lot of fun. Into second. Now, say I was close to the edge there, but it does feel like if I put any sort of power on while in any sort of steering lock position, the back end's going. Yeah, if you lock it around a corner and put power on, you're sliding it around that corner from there on. Now this does come with the SVT package, which includes springs, so the steering feels direct and it feels flat through the corners, which is impressive because it's a massive car, so you'd expect a bit of body roll, but this package does really make a difference. The only thing I would say, it makes it a little bit uncomfortable, but I think you're not really going to be considering comfort. Oh, there's a tunnel here. Let's open the window. Wait a second. You're not going to think about comfort. Oh my life! When you have a soundtrack like that. Let's leave it in third. I want to hear this. Here we go. Here we go, nice change down here. Fifth, fourth, third. Change downs are enough to kick the back end out. Second. Into first. That short shift gearbox is incredible. I love it. Jeez, this thing is so tail happy. That being said, it doesn't feel like a big lump in a Mickey Mouse car. As I said, this has racing pedigree. Look at the badge. And the more you drive it, the more you can feel it. Yes, you can throw the back end out for a laugh. Yes, you can leave 11s wherever you leave from, but it has that feel to it. It feels like a race car. It doesn't just feel... I'd be interested to see what a Mustang feels like. I know they work in cahoots with Ford, but I'd be very interested to see if it is the Shelby badge that makes this car come alive in a racing sense, because I feel like without a bit of refinement, this would just be a lump. It would just be a Mickey Mouse car, as I'm calling it. Just a car that you can scare people in and not really drive, but this doesn't feel like that. The more you drive it, the more precise it feels. And at the end of the day, you still have that noise, you still have that power. And to be fair, it goes beyond being just a big muscle car inside as well. It has things you would expect from a highly spec car from 2011. It has a touchscreen from Microsoft. It has a multifunction steering wheel. It has electric seats. It has big seats, presumably made for big Americans. Oh my God, I've just opened the boot. I pressed the button I thought was the spoiler. It's actually the boot. That is a rookie error, that is. You review cars and you open the boot while driving? Idiot. Anyway, where was I? It has Bluetooth, sat-nav, it even has ambient lighting. This is definitely more refined than us Europeans would give it credit for. And with a soundtrack like that, we should perhaps stop being so snobby about American cars, because this is why. If you're a car purist and you overlook this just because of some nonsensical perception that American cars are rubbish, you might want to think again. One thing I will say that's unexpected is I'm actually enjoying the whine from the supercharger. Whenever I've heard, you know, your demons really revving up and it's like taking away from the engine noise, I've always thought, oh, that sounds rubbish. But when you're in one, it sounds very mechanical. Oh, there's a tunnel there. That was a missed opportunity. I should say as well, unlike some cars, it's not actually a very difficult car to use on a day-to-day. You think of cars, how many cars have 500 horsepower and have big comfortable seats and a manual gearbox that's quite easy to use and a nice feeling clutch and direct steering? There's not that many. There really isn't. Back in its home. So then, it's loud, it's fast, it's fun. There's not many people that would follow those three adjectives with a negative review. And I won't be either. It's not a daily. It's definitely not a daily. It does 15 miles per gallon on a good run, but as a weekend car, convertible, 4 seats, modern, retro styling, and that soundtrack, I can't think of another car that's going to consistently wake the neighbours, perform that well, turn as many heads, and constantly put a smile on your face, as much as the GT500. So, to the Americans, well done. To my fellow Europeans, that is a lot of fun.